What's up guys, it's Wolfgang back here with another Dorkfish Collections review, and today we are going to review a figure I have been waiting to talk about, a character I absolutely love, the Mezco 112 The Shadow Collector's Capsule. Guys, let's get into it. Alright guys, as always, we are going to start with accessories. That being said, this figure comes with way more than most any standard figure comes with. It is a specialty release, and on top of it, I believe, not only being a direct exclusive, it was only one of 500, I think. So there's not many out there to get, and there's a lot. So we're going to do this a little differently. Normally take them out, spread them out, but there's so much to go over, so we're gonna do it this way, so bear with me. Sorry guys, we're gonna try to do it as efficiently as possible. I am gonna start with this side. You see my hand coming in, my shadow moving in, my shadow moving in here. We've got a lot of good stuff. So the underneath tray that would sit underneath the black part in this box, which this box just flips out and folds, maybe move it around, you see you got your shadow on the front, you've got a different shadow take on the back. Maybe I'll leave that one there for this backdrop. I love that because you've got the black silhouette underneath the chin instead of the red, but I'll show that off. Here, your bottom tray, you've got a few different accessories. The biggest thing, the thing that catches everyone's attention, at least from people who collect this piece, is the poster here. Now, to be honest guys, I am not going to unroll the poster. I'm going to get a frame and frame it. Just know that all of them come with this. It's a really, really cool piece, Noir Gangster. I believe it's based off of one of, if not the first appearance from the comics for him. I can't, I'm not 100%, so don't quote me on that, but I believe that's what it is. But yeah, not gonna unroll it. It's a really cool piece. I'm gonna get a frame for it first. But in the bottom tray, you also get things like this sick pin. Pull that into the light so you can see that. It's a really cool pin there. You get the smoke effect. Now this smoke effect has been used many times. You'll see it a lot in like the Gold Skulls and the Ninja Gomez figures. So it is a reused effect, but very cool for someone like the Shadow. You'll see this piece here. That's the bottom of the stand, and I love that. Very, very cool. I'm gonna put that back there. Of course, you get your 112 bag. You get your 112 standard stand piece. So those are just kind of standard there. Now, shifting to the other side. Again, bear with me. I'm so sorry. There's a lot to go over here. We're gonna get into the neat pieces first, as far as from a collector, not from a toy use part. So you've got this coin. Now this coin comes in a plastic sealed case, the same as the Pink Skull Society. I believe it was it may have been an SSDC, but there was one of the cons where you could get coins for the Pink Skull Society, the original release. And this is kind of like those where it comes in the plastic casing. So just kind of move it back there. You've got on one side, you've got the Shadow. And it says, very, very cool line, "Who knows what evil lurks in the heart of men," which is a tagline from the Shadow from his old days. I say his old days, from the radio days. And then the answer on the other side, the Shadow knows, with the Shadow on the coin. Now, guys who don't know about the Shadow, we'll get into a little bit of a history rant in a second. But first, let's go down all the accessories. Now, all right, I got the box out. It is a ring-style box. Got a nice soft top that can press in, and when you open it, you've got this amazing ring in here. People who have seen the movie or know about the Shadow know that this is a way in which people who work under the Shadow, he has a whole operation underneath him. Those people wear that ring. That's one of the ways that they will know each other. So that's what that's for, just so you know. Now getting into the toy accessories. We're going to start with these up here. We're going to work our way down. So right here, pretty cool piece. You've got, same as the standard release. Let me see if I can get this focused in on that piece right there. Pardon my extra fingers. Ooh, pardon me, sorry. So this skull here inside of the ball, the crystal ball. Sorry if I didn't get that all the way. Working with the new camera. But crystal ball, skull inside. You've got his spare head This head I have had a lot of fun with. It's a fantastic piece. It's an all blacked out with silver eyes. Let me bring a light in to see if we can catch that eye there. But yeah, you should be able to see it. The silver peering eyes. Let me put this back and reset the light there. I've had fun with that. It's very, very cool because it's meant to be the piercing eyes from the Shadow. So it's a really, really cool piece. You have two holsters, one that's already on him and one that comes separate. Now I switched them around just so you know. The one that's on him I have a preference to. The one that comes on him is this one here. It does come with a little foam piece to keep it right there. But you can see here, little holster for both guns, and it does hold guns just as the other one that's already on him, which I'll show you, holds guns. Now down this side you'll see, and you get two of them, suction cups that are meant to be for scaling a building. They have actual rubber plier cups. Let me turn on this extra light so you can see this, and I may keep this on the rest of the video. It's gonna be a little bright to start, but boom, there we go. So little extra suction cups there. You get two of them, one for each hand. Speaking of hands, and we may bounce the other side because you got hands over there. We've got this hand here, which is a power hand. The Shadow does have some powers. You'll see there very carefully, you'll see the ring on his hand. But there's that throwing hand for those power effects. Over here, this case, you'll have a few different hands in there. You're not gonna be able to tell what they are, so let me just pop these open for you. Do my best to see if I can show them off. There's just a lot of stuff, guys. So you've got two fisted hands, two gun hands, you got two gripping hands, and two pointing hands. Now these are on the left hand side, so these are just pointing hands, whereas these are both left and right, all the way down, right? So putting those back, you've got his weapons accessories now. So you've got a grappling hook, very well done. I think besides the Shadow, it's been done in some other figures, but I can't quote that. So just take that with a grain of salt, but I'm pretty sure other figures have done that. You've got his little dagger here, which the blade is very well done, handle's done, it's textured. You've got his Tommy machine gun, which they've done a few different times. Let's see here. I know they did a weapons pack, Dirty Dozen, and no, it wasn't the Dirty Dozen. There was a different pack, a weapons pack they did, where it came with loot bags and some other guns, and it came with Tommy guns. They've done the Tommy guns. That's the point being. Yes, they've done Tommy guns before. Of course, the barrel does move on this one. Mine's a little tight, so I don't want to break it, but the barrel does come out. The chamber does come out. I'm just not gonna pull it, but you get a spare barrel if you wanted to do a barrel changing scene with it. For other weapons here, you've got some guns here. I've got, you'll probably notice a few missing because they're up in the guns already. I've been doing pictures, but let's get this off and just as careful can be, because there's a lot of small parts to this. But you've got his pistols, you've got multiple clips, magazines, sorry, it's clips I believe, but magazines, no, it's magazines, sorry. Pardon me, sorry. You got multiple accessories for this gun. Fires and then bullets with extension there. The guns can cock back, as any guns can do, and you can remove accessories and re-add. So, forgive me, sorry, I'm not as up to my terminology as I should be with guns. Sorry, guys. But that being said, you've got a lot of accessories with that. And then you've got some bigger accessories. Now, all of these have been done before. So let's get down to the fact that all of these gun accessories have been done before across Mezco. In fact, I want to say some of these were for, I want to say the Clown Prince of Crime Joker may have been the first one to do some of these accessories. They all port in and plug in via these little plugs right here, if you can see that. All of them have one. Some of them have just been from different toys, but these are just reused accessories. I will say I like these more than most of the others. Typically, they're a little more foggy, a little more cloudy, but these have a more see-through, a more sheen and dark appearance to them. Like a actual fire would be for a gun. So I kind of like those more. One thing I skipped over on the other tray that I wanted to wait until I came to the actual figure for is in the other tray you have his cape. Now his cape, there you can see, unlike the standard release, has red inside, which you would see standard with things like the comics and so forth, is black inline, and it is wired all the way, not the top here, but the sides and bottom is completely wired. If you'll see here, a button capability, so you button it over. You've seen figures with that before in Mezco. And in the way it attaches, you've got this elastic right here, 2 loops, they go up underneath each arm, loops around and attaches, right? So there's that. Underneath that as well, there is this cloth spandex piece. It is the black bandana like you see on the backdrop behind me. The black bandana, let me just, so you got the black bandana there. And it's spandex and it's sewn across and looped in together. So it is not a separate piece, unlike the red bandana, which I have sitting on him because that's the standard look and my favorite look. The red piece here, the red cloth bandana that goes around him, which is completely wired. Now, neither one come on him standard in the box. You've got the Shadow here. He's got the other holster on him. He comes with the overcoat already on him, as well as a suit, obviously. 2 fisted hands here. So I apologize. The 2 that I called fisted hands before are actually closed, not quite closed fist, but pretty tight gripping hands. You would see them in a lot of figures for like holding swords or other small things, hammers, things like that. He's got his hat on, his regular head. This is pretty standard for what he's in the box. Really good piece. That being said, now that we've looked at all the accessories, and there's so many, now we can go to, let's go to aesthetics. Yeah, we're gonna go to aesthetics. All right, we're getting into aesthetics, guys, and there's plenty to talk about with this figure. Again, amazing. I love the silhouette it casts. I've done photos already and posted up on my Instagram, and we'll continue to post more photos of him in the future. He cuts an imposing silhouette as the comics and the original radio show goes into. Sidebar, right quick. Let's talk about the history of the Shadow. So the Shadow is from the 1930s, 1931, I believe, in fact, was the debut year of the Shadow. Now, he did not debut as the hero that we know him as now, for those who understand or know the character. He did debut instead as a radio host for gangster noir shows. He was the guy kind of narrating the shows. And what happened was, because those same shows were getting comic style releases, or at least shows adjacent to it were getting comic releases, people were going into the comic sense asking for the Shadow comics. That got back to the owners, and the owners thought about it and said, well, I mean, if they're already asking for the Shadow, let's give them the Shadow. So he then jumped out into the pages of comics as well as other radio shows, specifically talking about himself and his adventures, and he became his own character. Now, he's widely known as Lamont Cranston, although it's not his real name. That is the alias he takes up, which is a billionaire that travels the world, kind of a playboy philanthropist. It should ring a bell, because he would go on to inspire Batman. Now, Zorro and a few other characters like the Green Hornet also helped with Batman, shaping Batman, but the main inspiration for Batman is the Shadow. Now, that being said, he would go on to have his own film in late 80s, early 90s, starring Alec Baldwin. It is a campy slog of an amazing movie. I personally love it. I grew up with it. I had the original toys, but I also understand it's not the best produced. It's not Batman 89. It's not The Dark Knight. It's not anything amazing. It is just fun. So I suggest it. If you're a Shadow fan, you should look it up and watch it. But that's a very, very, very brief summary of the Shadow. There is a lot of detail to this character. He has so much layer and depth to him in stories that you can find online. You should be able to Google or even go onto YouTube and find stories from the Shadow radio show, different comic book companies and different reviewers have done different videos on the Shadow. He's also had comics, his own runs, as well as crossover runs with Batman. So there is a lot of media to cover with the Shadow. There's just so much and not enough time that I just don't want to get into all of it. I can't and make a figure review, but I wanted to put out these points that if you want to know anything about him, he's out there. He's a major character. Definitely check him out. All right, so getting into the aesthetic past the silhouette. Guys, the cape looks great on him, but when you remove it, he's got a really good look to him. His face is very well detailed. Let me just put it under. You can see him, got the light on there, pretty harsh, but the face is very well detailed. You've got the buttons, you've got the taper over. You can actually take the whole jacket off. You can take all this off. He's got a full suit underneath with a regular face, which you can take off. I'm not going to do so because it is a pain. It takes a lot of time and effort to get it done. If you hear that car in the background, sorry. But the shoes shine very nice, very effective the way he does. He still, even without the cape, cuts a great silhouette. We talked about his hands having the ring. So all the hands have that. Beautiful stitching by Mezco. Mezco has always paid attention to detail with their suits. They've done a very good job there, as per usual. So very, very happy with that. He looks fantastic. He looks like the Shadow should look. The other head sculpt. Now, let's see if I can get this in where you can see it. You can already see the eyes shining back at you, but we're gonna the silver in the eyes. It is a more translucent plastic. The hat, much like the hat on the other, you'll see that shine there, is a different and a separate piece. See if I can get up on there so you can see it. It's on a ball peg. It's on a separate piece. It's attached to the face and head. You can see the hair sculpt and the ear. You can see the rest of the face, but the hat is a separate piece, and the head sculpt itself on this one is a translucent plastic. It's very, very interesting the way it's done. I'm going to take that off here. My point being, at the end of the day, it's so cool. It's very unique and very different, so I'm very happy with it. Now you'll get into the Shadow. The face, so well done. Eyes are so clean. Nose, he's got a interesting and menacing look. You can just take him and turn him face that way, and then the way you can get the shadowing off the hat, the brim of the hat, gives him a little more mystique. You can tip just a touch, and now boom, look at that shadowing across the eyes. So cool. Such a really, really well done piece. Look at that Tommy gun. Silver is fantastic. The wood's on there. It is textured wood. So well done there. Your other guns here, same principle. Now, articulation is good and interesting on these kind of figures because it is cloth around the figures. You lose some range in certain ways. That's just always the gambit. And then when you add extra cloth on a figure like this, you don't get as much range. But I don't think it hurts the figure in that these kind of figures don't need a lot of articulation. The Shadow is not doing the splits. He's not doing Spider-Man poses. So I don't need Spider-Man poses for the Shadow. But what we do get, I think, is fantastic. He's on a double ball hinge, or double ball joint neck and head. So you can get up fairly well. You can get down very good. You've got, of course, your neck tilt there. Side to side, anything that you want to do with the head, a little bit of attitude, you've got it. T-pose, for the most part, you've got those shoulder pads in there. They're tough. You're not going to get a full T-pose out of him. You're going to get pretty close though. Of course, you're going to get up fairly high for all things considering. He's going to be able to aim a gun and shoot it. You got a double jointed elbow that works out there just fine. You've got bicep swivel, so you can swivel his arm to hold things like the Tommy gun. You've got a wrist peg and ball joint, so you'll see, and they did it in black to cover up the glove, but you've got that in there. There is an abdomen crunch. It's very, very slight with all the extra layers on, but it is there. You've got, of course, your standard side to side, which is again hindered by the clothes. So you're going to find a lot of articulation, but a lot of the articulation is hindered by the clothes, just being honest. You've got splits almost, or fairly well for him. You can kick up, that far. You've got a double jointed knee. So if you look, he can pretty much still kick his butt. Oh, there went a hand. But he can pretty much still kick his butt. Let me get that hand back on. Yeah, so the double jointed knee is very well done. He is on also aesthetics, didn't talk about, he's got ridged socks on. But he can get his ankle up pretty high. Okay low, you get here. I want to say it's a ball joint, just a regular ball joint on the ankle. So nothing crazy. So articulation is what it needs to be for this figure. Is it anything crazy or revolutionary? No, but the Shadow doesn't need revolutionary or crazy. He needs the standard stuff with all this uniform on. So I think personally, having the amount of articulation he has with the layering of clothing and gear he has on, I think is fantastic. I think they killed it. All right, next we're gonna get into size comparisons. And here he is next to Mezco's The Crow and the Caped Crusader Batman himself. Beautiful comparison. They all look great, scale perfectly. So wonderful scaling there. And here we have him next to the Marvel Legends Ghost Rider, as well as the Jada Toys Sagat. All right, guys, and in bringing this review to a close, I absolutely adore this figure. I absolutely love it. I think Mezco knocked it out of the park. They do really, really good with these kind of properties. So it was very, very worth it to pick up. But guys, that being said, I'm gonna bring this review to an end. I really, really love this figure. It's obvious that I'm an extreme fan for this. Not many negatives to bring up, but there's not a lot of negatives that I've experienced. And I've had this figure since release, and it's been a few months. And the original one was released, and it's the same body, virtually the same setup. And I have not come across anyone with any real negative experiences that I know of from the original or this one. So guys, very worth it, very on point. I'm gonna quit rambling now and bring it to an end. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this, go back and watch any of our other reviews. Give love to some of our other reviewers who are on the channel too, like Thomas. And thank you again. Have yourselves a killer day. Wolfgang with Dorkfish is out.